be 2 and 3/4. This is my length right here. And then my width is going to be 1 and 1/2. Okay? And I'm going to show you my work right here so that you can see it. So I'm multiplying 2 and 3/4 times 1 and 1/2. And if you have a different way to solve these problems, it's perfectly fine. The most important thing is that you are getting the end result, the right answer. So make sure you're double checking your answers and you're doing it correctly. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 3 is what I need to add. So 11/4. And then I have 1 and 1/2. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So I have 3/2. 11 times 3 is 33. 4 times 2 is equal to 8. And I'm going to divide using a scratch paper. So I have 33 divided by 8. I need to figure out how many times does 8 go into 33. That is 4 times. 33 minus 32 is equal to 1. My remainder is 1 as my numerator, and 8 is my denominator. So I have 4 and 1/8 as my answer. So I'm going to put my answer as 4 and 1/8. Now, my next problem, problem B, it says rectangle B is 2 and 1/2 units long and 3 and 3/4 units wide. So the first one, it tells you right here, it tells you the length of the rectangle is 2 and 1/2. So I'm going to write right here 2 and 1/2. And then for my width, it tells me that it is 1 and 7/8. Sorry, not 1 and 7/8. It tells me that it is 3/4 wide, which is my unit right there. Okay. Now, with this information, I know that I'm supposed to multiply first 3/4 and 2, and then I'm going to multiply 3/4 and 1/2. So I'm going to write that down so that you guys can kind of see that. Or what you can also do is you can multiply both numbers together in order to get your final answer. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply both answers together. It's just easier to do. But whichever one works for you is fine with me. We have 2 and 1/2 times 3/4. 2 times 2 is equal to 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. I have 5/2 times 3/4. I know that 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 4 is 8. And now I'm going to divide. 15 divided by 8. 8 goes into 15 once. 15 minus 8 is equal to 7. So my remainder is 7. And my denominator is 8. So I have 1 and 7/8 as my final answer. 1 and 7/8 units squared. Now, for problem C, let me look for another piece of paper to write on. For problem C, we have rectangle 3 and 1/3 units long. So I'm going to write that down, 3 and 1/3. And then on the side, I have 2 and 1/2 units wide. So I'm going to write that down right here, 2 and 1/2 units wide. So now I'm going to multiply those numbers together to find area, because area is equal to base times height. So I have 3 and 1/3 times 2 and 1/2. Okay, so 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. My denominator is going to be 3. On the other side, I have 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. 4 plus 1 is equal to 5, so I have 5/2. Now I'm going to multiply my numbers together to get my final answer. 10 times 5 is equal to 50, and 3 times 2 is equal to 6. Now I'm going to divide. I have 50 divided by 6. Okay, I'm going to show you first. 6 goes into 50 8 times, because 6 times 8 is 48. I subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. So my remainder is 2, and my denominator is 6. Now I can further divide this. Simplify. So first I'm going to write 8 and 2, 6. And I'm going to further simplify by dividing by 2 over 2. Okay? So I'm going to get 8. 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. And 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. I have 8 and 1/3 as units squared as my final answer. Okay, now I'm going to turn the page. We are now on page 70, lesson 11 homework. Make sure you guys are writing in the correct spot. So, rectangle D is 3 1/2 units long. So that is going to be my length, and my length is going to be written right here, 3 1/2. And it says 2 1/4 units wide. So this is the width, 2 1/4 units wide. I'm going to multiply those numbers together to find my area. So I have 3 1/2 times 2 1/4. I'm going to convert those both into mixed number into an improper fraction. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. I'm going to put my denominator on the bottom. And then I have 2 1/4. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. My denominator is 2. So I have 7 times 9 is equal to 63. And 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Okay, so I'm going to divide right now 63 divided by 4. 4 goes into 6 one time. I subtract. 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. Bring down my 3. I know that 4 times 7 is equal to 21. Subtract. 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. So I have my denominator as 4. So my answer is 17 2/4. But if you notice, 2/4 can be simplified further by dividing 2 over 2. So I have 17. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. My final answer is 17 1/2. Now, my next problem, I have problem 2. And for problem 2, it tells me right here a square has a perimeter of 25 inches. That means that when you add all sides of the perimeter, you are going to get 25 inches. So I need to divide 25 divided by 4 in order to figure out how much each side is equal to. Okay, so I'm going to do that right here. I have 25 divided by 4. I know that 4 can go into 25 6 times. 6 times 4 is equal to 24. 25 minus 24 is equal to 1. That is my remainder. So my remainder is going to become my numerator, and my 4 is my denominator. So each side is equal to 6 1/4. Okay? Now, with that answer right there, I'm going to find my area. And remember I told you area is equal to base times height. It's a formula you just kind of have to memorize in order to know what you're doing. So I'm going to make sure I multiply. 6 1/4 times 6 1/4. For the first one, I know that 6 times 4 is 24. 24 plus 1 is equal to 25. My denominator is 4. Same thing, it's going to be the same on the other side because they are identical, 6 1/4. Now, I'm going to multiply 25 times 25 and then divide by 16 because 4 times 4 is 16. I'm going to show you how you multiply 25 times 25 on this piece of paper. 25 times 25. 5 times 5 is equal to 25. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. 10 plus 2 is equal to 12. Bring down my 0. 2 times 5 is equal to 10. 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Plus 1 is equal to 5. 5 plus 0 is equal to 5. 2 plus 0 is equal to 2. and 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. So I have 625. Okay? Now I need to divide 625 divided by 16 in order to figure out what my final answer is. And when I do that, I'm going to get 39 and 1/16 inches squared. Okay? And that is all for your work today. Good job, you guys.